Do you want to know what it's like to win 5 James Beard Awards? Do you want to know what it's like to be called the Queen of Southern Cooking? Well, you are in the right place. I am so excited. Welcome to Cookbooks with Virginia. It's a weekly cookbook show, and I have all my favorite authors on, and I've got one of my favorite authors today, Natalie Dupree. We've got an Instagram giveaway with one of her most recent books. Natalie, thank you so much for coming on today.
Well, it's so good to be here. It's just like you're in my house. I'm in your house.
I know. It's wonderful. So y'all that are tuning in, I'm actually pre-recording this because I'm away, and I thought, though, this is going to be the perfect person to have on. And I put a call out to Facebook, Natalie, asking people what questions they wanted to ask. And
oh dear.
Boy, howdy, do I have some questions.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
But you have fun on Facebook.
I love
popular.
Facebook. I don't care what anybody else says. I've learned how to handle people that say snarky things, and that doesn't happen much anymore. It's really, I'm not trolled or anything. There are one thing that's new, which is that certain men send the same query, like, oh, I'd like to get to know you better. Would you please, make me a friend or something like that? And it's like copied right from each other, and they don't seem to know it.
No,
But anyway,
I think that Mary Kay Andrews calls those faux beaux.
Phobos.
Faux beaux, because I think they're actually just, criminals in Nigeria or India or something.
Right.
I don't
Phobos.
faux beaux.
That's wonderful.
Isn't that a great expression? And then, because if you go to their page, they're always, they're like it's like a military hero,
Right.
doctor. They all went to Harvard.
Right. Well, they don't really have much on their pages.
Right. That's because they're wanting they're wanting your credit card. So, but you have such a great presence on Facebook, and I know that people love your pithy remarks, and they love they just I think it's kind of interesting because it really has turned into like the world's living room, don't you think?
Yes, it has.
It's really fun. So, okay, so the first question that I have, I'm just going to read you a couple of sweet things. Kelly Turner Butler says, Natalie is the reason I became interested in cooking. Isn't that so wonderful?
Oh, that is so wonderful.
I love the stories that went along with her shows. She would also say in her PBS broadcast not to cry if something was imperfect or if something was imperfect. And she'd also say, yours will come out perfectly if she pokes her finger through the pie crust. Cookies and carrot cake is the best.
Yes.
So that wasn't a question. That was just a I love Natalie
right. Oh, that wasn't a question. But I did that on purpose too. I mean, because I would stick my finger through the pie crust or tear them. I would just take a pie crust and just tear it and say, okay, let's fix it rather than.
So y'all, my first job cooking was as an apprentice on Natalie's show. And I had grown up watching her and saw you on PM Magazine and saw you on PBS. And I just remember being terrified when I met you, just terrified. And then
and I lived up to it.
You did. Later, you weren't mean then, though. You weren't mean to me then. You were never really mean, but I remember after the show ended, so I met Ray Overton, right? And I came on as an apprentice, and then after the show was over, I asked if I could come apprentice with you, and you said yes.
Right. And then you'd come in, but not every day. You came after school or late after work and whatever.
Right.
Afternoons, and so you weren't there as much as any other apprentice I've ever had, but still we got accustomed to you.
You became accustomed to me. Yeah, no, I was still working at Rich's then. So I came on my days off and I made my schedule happen in the morning so I could come to you in the afternoon. And
Right.
That was how all that started. All right,
That's right.
Adam New Watterson says, I love you two doing the same damn thing together 20 years after I first met you. That's sweet. All right, Andrea Kehoe has a question. She says, I would love to get her advice on how to make the best iced tea. A Southern cook and hostess like Natalie surely has some sweet tea tips to share. Although I have a half dozen of her cookbooks, I haven't run across a tea recipe from her. So what do you have to say to Andrea
I
about
think
how to make?
there is one.
I thought
Um,
you.
there, but I don't know. I can't. You'd have to look it on my website. There is a list of recipes up until entertaining, and it would be in one of the early ones. But anyway, here's how you do.
Okay.
You don't use the big tea bags because those are all junky tea.
Okay.
That's just like throwaway tea. You use, if you have to use a bag, you use a small bag.
Gotcha.
And so we'll say 6 tea bags.
Okay.
And I liked Tetley for some reason. And you bring them you put them in a pot of water, about 3-4 cups of water, maybe more. And you just bring it up to the boil.
Uh-huh.
And then you put a pinch of baking soda in it.
Okay.
And it goes just, it's fun. And then that sort of smooths the bitterness out.
So you bring it to a boil and then turn it off. And how long do you let it steep?
The longer, the better,
Oh.
Yes, it would be better like if you had a crock and could put it outside. There used to be a belief that you should put it out in a crock, crockery, and let it sit. But anyway, then you add your sugar if you're going to have sugar, or your sweet and low. And you can do half sugar, half sweet and low
Oh my.
if you want to.
Tea? Do you like unsweetened tea?
What?
You like sweet tea or unsweetened tea?
Well, I like semi-sweet tea,
Me too.
but I am married to a sweet tea person, and he likes it, added while it's hot and dissolved and all of that. So anyway, but then you let it steep at least half an hour, but if you could do a couple of hours, that would be even better. And then you take it and you wring out those tea bags
Okay.
and pour out the water that you've got into a pitcher or whatever you're measuring it in, whatever.
Uh-huh.
And then you take the tea bags and put them back in the pot and rinse them with water until they don't have any more debris, any more color,
Okay.
so that you have all the flavor of the tea in the pitcher.
Uh-huh.
So you take that water and you just you replenish what's in that pot until the tea runs clear. Then you can throw the tea bags away.
Now that's certainly economical.
Well, it's economical, but also it makes a better tea.
Fascinating. So you keep adding that water, you keep adding the tea as it gets increasingly diluted. You add it back to that main pot.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you fill it up to 2 quarts. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go, Andrea. We have Natalie sweet tea. I'm kind of funny. I usually like a half sweet, half unsweet. I don't drink that much tea because I would drink it and then I'd get wired and crazy, right? Like I don't take so much caffeine late in the day. I'm crazy enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I liked it when Ray made it.
I feel like I remember him always making tea.
Ray made the iced tea every day when he worked for me, and Kate did too. And they were really the best iced tea makers.
Iced tea maker. There you go. All right. So I have Susan Pinicati says, I don't like cornmeal batter on fish, especially fish like sole, flounder, etc. What do you use to coat it? And how do you cook it so it's moist but not mushy in the middle? What's your favorite fish coating?
Well, you know, mayonnaise might be something she would like.
Mayonnaise is the secret ingredient in many a dish.
Yes, yes. Once again, my husband cooks very rarely, but he does have a mayonnaise that he smears on flounder. And I think flounder is hard for people because it's so varies in thickness
Yeah.
so much.
Well,
So
I'm going to also make the suggestion that we make sure to use sustainable fish, and all flounder is sadly not sustainable because it's been overfished.
yes, right.
So mayonnaise, and I
Mayonnaise,
use I don't hardly ever fry fish because I mean
right,
right? I mean,
right.
I mean I like fried catfish, but that's one of the few ones that I do like. But I love panko. I mean, I use panko.
Yes, I use panko a lot, but if she doesn't like cornmeal, she may not also like the 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 texture of panko.
Mhm.
And I was going to not say breadcrumbs at all. The question is, does she want something smooth that where could be flour? You could just flour a
Uh,
fish,
yeah, all right, Susan.
or
Wow.
or but panko and breadcrumbs have a crunch to them
Mhm.
usually, and as does cornmeal, depending on what you do. So, but also nuts are ground nuts are a very nice thing. Some people even sliver nuts. So there are lots of nice.
Trout almondine.
Yeah, yeah. So you could do that. Yeah.
So Susan doesn't have a question, Susan Brake Anderson, but she says, "Oh my gosh, I love her. I had the privilege of meeting her a couple years ago when she was in Savannah for the annual book festival. She was just as I would imagine she would be after watching her on TV for so many years."
Well, isn't that sweet?
You really are so loved. I think that is it makes my heart so full. You must feel so much love. People love you, Natalie.
Well, you know, I love the people that are out there.
Yeah,
And I like just about everybody.
just about.
Well, I mean, you know the people I don't like, the
I
mean
know,
people.
yeah. All right, Ann Galetta says, "Love Natalie. She sparked my love of Southern cooking, which I shared with my father. I guess since we were from Wisconsin, it was an escape. So that's beautiful."
Yes.
All right, Jocelyn Ralston asked, "What junk processed food is your favorite guilty pleasure?"
Well, let's see. I was reading something that Charlotte Ann Albertson posted on Nutella this morning.
Nutella is a yummy thing.
And I do love hazelnuts
Chocolate.
uh, and so Nutella in some ways, Italian Nutella, because
Yeah.
every one of the Nutellas are different.
You know
But
what I have to tell you about? Do you like tahini?
what is it?
Tahini?
Oh, yes,
Okay,
right.
so there's a company called Zoom, and they make this incredible, it's an Israeli tahini, and it's delicious. And they also make a chocolate tahini.
Oh,
I'll send you
well,
some.
that's disgusting.
It's so disgusting. You want to eat it right out of the jar with a spoon.
Really, a chocolate tahini.
It's not meant to be used, obviously, like in hummus and stuff, but
Yeah, right.
it is
Well, it
delicious.
wouldn't be a bad dip.
Yeah,
I
like
mean,
apple slices.
yeah, like,
It's
excuse
really,
me. Yeah, but what do you use that for?
use it for dipping apples, like an apple slice.
Right,
I
right,
also put some on my peanut butter toast the other morning
right.
when I was feeling a bit decadent and decided that I was a grown ass woman. And if I wanted to put dessert for breakfast, I could do that.
Absolutely.
Right,
In
right.
fact, sometimes that's the best time to do it because you're going to work it off.
This is true. This is true. All right, y'all, I'm going to interrupt for a second. So we're giving away a copy of this book, Natalie Dupree's favorite stories and recipes. And the way that you're going to do it is you're going to go to my Instagram page and you're going to look for a copy of this. You're going to look for the cover and you're going to go in. And if you like me already, you can still play, but you're going to follow me and you're going to follow Nathalie Dupree Cooks. It's going to be all written in there. And you're going to comment and tag a friend. And then we will send you a signed copy of this book. So it's just that easy. So make sure that you go to the Instagram page. But while I've got these books, I'm going to show some of the other books that you have. So this is your Mastering the Art of Southern Cooking book.
Yes.
Isn't
that a pretty cake?
Yes, it's a beautiful cake. And look at you and Cynthia winning your James Beard Award right there.
We were so happy.
Yes, you should have been happy.
We're so happy.
I mean, you got enough James Beard Awards. You have enough James Beard Awards to decorate a Christmas tree.
No, it's on a statue I have.
It's amazing.
Right.
This is one of my favorite books, New Southern Cooking.
Yes.
That's a good book.
Yes. That's really a good home cookbook.
What about
there's that one. Showing my hair.
You got a perm for sure.
Yeah, I had a perm. It was anything to keep the hair out of my eyes that people keep complaining about still, but it's really hopeless.
Iced Lebanese soup.
Yes. Oh, that is the best.
I bet that's good.
Now that is a simple thing.
1979.
What?
1979.
Yes. But it's like you take one measure of yogurt and one measure of tomato juice and
chicken stock, heavy cream,
and whipped cream. Yeah. But it's more of the yogurt, I think. It's three or four yogurts and one each of all the other measures. And then you just whisk it all together with some cucumbers and maybe a cooked egg, hard cooked egg.
Yep.
And shrimp. We used to use the little baby shrimp that came in a package because you didn't used to know that you could get fresh shrimp. You didn't even understand that there were fresh shrimp that were available.
Well, things have changed a lot since 1979.
Yes. And the availability of seafood. It's truly the distribution of Southern food has changed a lot since then.
Now, this is when I came on the scene. This is when I started working with you in these books. Great meals for busy days and everyday meals from a well-stocked pantry.
Yes, I like that too. In some ways, my editor at the time, Pam Krause, who I dearly loved, Pam said that was her favorite book.
This last one?
Mm-hmm. Pantry meals. Yeah.
That was one of the series that I worked on.
Right. And then there's a blue one.
Yep. We got the shrimp and grits book.
There's that.
And then this is the last one I have in this stack.
That's it. That was a Beard Award.
That did. I feel like,
didn't it?
Is this the one I did the styling for?
Did it? Yeah.
I don't remember.
I think that was, yes.
Comfortable Entertaining, yes.
Yes. Because that was the one that we went out and did shots in the swimming pools and wherever.
Huge project. It was a huge project. Okay, let's see this. Okay, Alice Morin wants to know your favorite no work appetizer.
Well, there is that appetizer. Oh dear, I can't remember. It's the one with the bread cubes where you soak them in butter or egg and then you snack on them. We'll never forget that. Oh, the best one would be Piedmont Driving Club
Crackers.
crackers. Yeah, and you can soak saltines in water, or you can just put them in the oven and bake them. And
Don't, isn't that when you take the saltine crackers and you brush them with butter or soak them in butter and then bake them again?
that's it.
They're ridiculously delicious.
That's it. That's it.
But
Yeah.
that's a dangerous snack, right?
But yes, exactly. That's not exactly a snack. It's an appetizer. She said appetizer. She didn't say snack. And then another simple one is just goat cheese with hot pepper jelly on it,
Yeah.
red pepper jelly. I mean, for an easy appetizer. And then if you want to go a step up, you can put pepper jelly on quail. Oh, I just love quail. And there's a wonderful quail out there, you know, that where it's you can buy a boned breast of quail and it's wrapped in.
I think that's what Rebecca made for your birthday party at the Beard House. Is
Yes,
your lacquered, the red pepper quail.
yes, yes.
Green egg and all that. Okay, so I've got Allison Daly wants to know your favorite cookbook.
Of mine?
I don't know. She just says your favorite cookbook.
Oh God, I don't have favorite cookbooks. I don't have favorite friends. I don't have favorite.
Okay, well, let's just go to part 2 for question then. The secret ingredient, your secret ingredient that we might be surprised by. So like, what's your, you know?
One of the things I missed when I lived in London was lemon pepper.
Do you know that I actually bought lemon pepper wings today? It was kind of funny. I was at Whole Foods and they were pre-made, and I never buy them pre-made like that, but they were on sale, I guess, because the Super Bowl. So they were like $2 a pound cheaper to buy them pre-made,
Right.
buy them raw. And I thought, heck, I'll put lemon pepper wings. So it's a lemon pepper kind of day.
Right.
All right. Ginger wants to know, Ginger Morgan wants to know, and I don't know how to say her last name, Awaoka, but let's just call her Ginger. She wants to know, what was your most difficult challenge breaking into a field that was so dominated by men?
Oh God, you don't even want to hear it. You know, it took me so many years to become a professional, because my mother, when I first told her I wanted to be a cook, I was 20 years old. And my mother just said, oh God, you know, you would have to work at night with men, and they would be abusive in terms of, and you'd have to lift heavy pots. And so she just begged me not to do it. And it took me 10 more years. I think being a chef of a restaurant in Mallorca, Spain, was the most challenging of things. It prepared me for anything.
Yeah.
Because that Spanish maitre d' did not think that women should be in the kitchen. And he made my life miserable.
Right.
In very small, subtle ways. So once I threw a pan of potatoes at him. It's the only time I ever did anything like that with food, but I was really angry because of what he did. But also there were things like the electricity going out and the gas going out, because it was in the country in Mallorca and those things happened.
Right.
And so, you know, you're having to replace a gas tank for your oven, and the maitre d' won't help you because it's the chef's job, that kind of thing.
Right. Part of it, I think, is just like, you know, like what you just did it, right? I mean, it was hard when you did it. It was hard when I started working in the kitchens, you know, it's just, and now when I go to speak before COVID, when to go to speak to a culinary school, it's at least half women.
Yes.
But having said that, you know, a lot of restaurant chefs are men, you know, I mean, it's changed a lot, but there's still some challenges.
Right. the fortunate thing about being Southern is that in the back of your mind, you knew about boarding houses in the old days where women ran boarding houses, uh, even like the Virginia housewife, she ran a boarding house.
Right, right.
And so there were Southern boarding houses, big old houses that had room for boarders, and a woman would cook there. Maybe she would have helpers, but she was considered the cook. So I always knew I could run a boarding house or something like that,
Right.
and had that in the back of my mind all along, that that was something I could do if I was desperate.
Right.
And um, you know, Craig Claiborne's mother ran a boarding house. There were women that did do that, gentle women that would have been teachers if they
Right, 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 right.
had gone to normal school or whatever.
What's called normal school. So Blanca Aldaco says unrelated, but very important. Wants to know if you're going to the LDEI, the LADAMS conference in San Antonio in 2021. So I don't have to answer that yet, but she's looking out for you to come out to San Antonio. Natalie and I are both members of LADAMS Escoffier, which is a organization, a philanthropic organization of women in the food and beverage hospitality industry. And Natalie's like the Pied Piper of starting chapters, and has won the Grand Dame Award, and is a huge cheerleader for Les Dames Escoffier. And Les Dames Escoffier gives scholarships to women in the industry, and I myself am a recipient of one of those scholarships. So it's a very, very important organization.
And you got to go to Europe on that, didn't you?
No, my scholarship was, I feel like I got $2,000.
Right.
And I also I got something that I wasn't able to do because of finances. I feel like I got a stage with Nora, but then I actually wound up working for Nora Pouillon.
I was going to say you wound up working for Nora.
I wound up working for her.
And she autographed a book for you.
Yes.
She's very fond of you. Nora was a wonderful woman, really ahead of her time.
She really was. She really was. So for those of you that don't know, Nora Pouillon is essentially, she has everything to do with like why we know what organic food is in the United States. I mean, she helped write the part of the stipulations about organic foods, and she referred to sometimes as an East Coast Alice Waters, but really quite different. She Austrian. She has a restaurant in DC called Nora, and I worked at her restaurant that was called Cafe Nora. Really, really cool chef. All right, Alice Karas wants to know, did you think as highly of Pat Conroy as he thought of you? He really thought you hung the moon.
Well, I wouldn't say that Pat thought that I hung the moon.
That's so fun.
Pat was a novelist.
Right.
And he tended to make up things.
That's so fun.
But Pat was an incredible writer, and a very generous man, a sweet man in his own way. But he did have a little wicked tongue.
Yeah.
Yes, right. And he did tend to make up things, but not as much as they thought. I mean, people thought that he made up the lion in, was it the Great Santini? But he didn't. There really was a lion or a tiger or something in a gas station.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
So the thing that he thought he made up, he didn't.
What did he say that I thought was so great when he wrote that about you? It's like you're the person that was more like, what was it? It was something, it's really lovely though. You're the person most like a fictional character of any person he'd ever met.
Yes, that ever met. He said I was constantly reinventing myself, and I never knew what he meant.
That's funny. All right, so Sandy and Susan both want to know, Of all the recipes that you have showcased over the years, what are your personal go-to favorites? So of all of these books and all of those recipes that you have taught on your cooking shows and your classes, like what is the one that you just keep going back to?
Oh, there are so many, the one that I make the most because my family loves it the most is a peach cobbler.
Yeah.
I mean, a dump cake
Yeah.
cobbler, just
It's so
uh,
easy and the
easy. You
top.
melt a stick of butter and you get the pan hot, and then you just mix self-rising flour and milk and peaches and sugar.
Yum.
Well, self-rising milk and sugar and self-rising flour, milk, and sugar in equal proportions, and then you add 2 cups more of peaches on
Uh,
the top.
I love peach cobbler. It's one of my favorite things.
Yes,
One of my
yes,
favorite
then
things.
make it right.
All right, Donna. Donna wants to know, you have 30 minutes before guests arrive. What do you serve?
Well, it depends on what I have.
There
I
you go.
mean, uh, my father used to do that to my mother. That was a vicious thing.
It's a vicious.
Call her and say, I'm bringing people home for dinner. But if you're going to have people at the last minute, then they have to take what you have. But Pat Conroy once did that to me. We was supposed to, I kept, he came to Oxford, Mississippi to do a book promotion, and he had an entourage with him, his high school English teacher and his English, and then his father and his father's girlfriend, and John Berendt, who wrote Midnight in the Garden
Yeah.
of Evil, and Carly um, Rusoff and Marley Rusoff and Nan Talese. And I told him that he couldn't get a place to eat at the last minute in those days at Oxford. Nowadays, there's lots of restaurants, but there weren't at the time. And to not let making a reservation when you had an entourage too late. And he blew me off. And then about, 4:30 or 5 o'clock or whenever, he called me and said, Natalie, we're starving. And of course, I had nothing ready. I had had people for lunch and we had sat around all afternoon and visited. And so, and we didn't have a kitchen then. I was redoing my kitchen. And so I had one burner that worked and a little portable oven, and I had a cold grill, charcoal grill. So Jack lit the charcoal grill, and I took a frozen beef tenderloin and put it on the grill and put the lid on top. And then I did roasted red peppers, and Jack was supposed to make cornbread, but he forgot to use self-rising cornbread, mix. I mean, he forgot to add the additive, so it was kind of flat. So I cut that up and used it as sticks, and we dipped it into grits. My grits cooked with um, uh, heavy cream, and where I added Parmesan.
Your grits are more heavy cream than grit. They're almost like it's almost like
Yes.
you have copious amounts of heavy cream in your grits.
Well, it's 4-to-1, no matter what liquid you use. And with cream, it's a little bit more because, of course, cream has a little more body. So it's easily more than 4-to-1 for grits.
Oh my gosh, I'm getting hungry. This is making me so hungry.
Yeah. But it's not all cream, I cook part of it in water, part of milk, then just add the cream at the end, maybe.
So good. Grits are so good. I don't understand it when people don't like grits. They haven't had the right
I
grits.
haven't had the right grits. I mean, there are some wonderful grits out there.
Yeah.
Anson Mills, and then Geechee Boy that isn't Geechee Boy anymore,
I just saw that. Yeah.
but
There's
but
so many.
many flavorful ones.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that's so nice. All right. Let's see who else we've got going on. Uh, what's your favorite comfort food?
It's interesting. And I think this is the result of the pandemic
Yeah.
that people are asking so
I did,
much about what
definitely.
favorite and comfort foods are. Well, the peach cobbler
Peach cobbler and cream sounds
is,
pretty
yeah,
comforting to me, right?
yeah, yeah. But my husband does make one thing
Okay.
that he really cooks now. He hasn't cooked that flounder and with mayonnaise except once when I had an operation and he was cooking. But he does cook nearly every Saturday grilled peanut butter and banana sandwiches.
There you go.
Now that is a good sandwich.
Grilled like on a charcoal grill or griddled?
No, grill. He takes the waffle iron from his first marriage, and he takes 2 pieces of white bread and brushes them on the outside and puts peanut butter and banana on the inside, and then he takes them and puts them on a heated waffle grill. So it'd be like a panini if you would
Yeah,
wanted to say.
waffle, waffle. That's a
And
that's a
then puts the top down. It's a really wonderful old waffle iron, and they come out just melted, and the peanut butter is runny, and the cat just goes wild because she
cat
loves
and
peanut bananas.
I love peanut butter, y'all. We were talking about how much we love peanut butter before we started recording. Peanut butter is so good for you. It's like it's comfort food, it's health food. Huge peanut butter. Yeah,
Yeah.
huge peanut butter fans here. Okay, I'm going to promote the book one more time, and then I've got some questions.
Oh, and I've got to say this: the Ladams of North Carolina. I knew I was going to say this. Are raising money
Okay.
for the restaurants. So please go on my Facebook page. We need to double the amount that we've raised so far.
Yeah, no, that's great. So Ladom's, go to Natalie's Facebook page, and I'll have all that information in the post where you can find it and you can go and donate, because there's so many good restaurants in North Carolina,
Right.
and all these restaurants have been hit really hard. All right, and you're also going to go to my Instagram page, and you're going to look for the cover of this book. You're going to like me, not like Natalie Dupree Cooks, tag a friend, and we're going to send you a copy of it.
Right.
So I started a new thing where I'm doing on Cookbooks with Virginia, and that I have these 5 questions that I ask people at the end of every show. So I'm going to ask you, my first question is, what was the last cookbook that you cooked from or read other than one of your own?
Actually, Jubilee
Or
by Tony Tipton Martin.
Yeah, that's
a pound cake. So that's pretty easy to answer.
Yeah, that's nice. It's a beautiful book all about, oh gosh, Tony Tipton Martin wrote it. African American cooking is
right.
really phenomenal, and Tony is a phenomenal. I want to get her on the show too. What is your most indispensable cooking tool? Like, what can't you not have? Desert island. You're going to be stuck on a desert island, and you need this one particular cooking tool.
Well, I think it has to be a knife. Because you can just about do anything if you have a knife.
You're the first person that said knife.
Really?
Isn't that funny? I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. I'd say knife too, because you can use it for anything, but you never know. Some people answer it differently. So.
Yeah, I can't think. I just went through this now because I've moved.
Right.
And I got rid of so much. So I had to say to myself, well, how much will you really use this?
Right.
And so that weaned me of a lot.
That weaned you a lot. Well,
Yeah,
I bet that was interesting because you had so much stuff. You had so much
yes,
stuff and you downsized and must be
yeah. It
it must have been really hard on some levels and then like really freeing on some levels at the same time.
wasn't freeing at all.
Wasn't?
I miss it all.
Oh, one of the questions is, did you keep your bottle openers and the ones
No, I kept some bottle openers. I had one friend, Margie, that I loved dearly, and she would bring me bottle openers from all over. And so I kept as many of those as I could without destroying the collection.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Wow. All right, of the 5 flavors, sour, salty, bitter, sweet, and savory, what's your favorite?
Well, sweet and salty, I guess.
Sweet and salty? That makes sense.
Yeah.
Someone said sour. I love it. That one's been a great question, I think, because everyone's a little different. So
Yeah.
you're good.
Yeah. I'm not a great sour person, except for pickles and tuna fish salad.
All right. What kind of pickle? Dill pickle or bread and butter pickle?
Dill pick. Oh, bread and butters I like, but they're too sweet for a tuna fish
Yeah.
sandwich.
Okay. Mama puts bread and butter in her tuna. I like a bread and butter pickle, but I don't like them when they're so sweet, super sweet. And I also don't care for them when they have too much clove.
Yes. Yes. Well, that's it. You have to, it depends on this and the pickle.
This is true. Okay, now I love this one for you. Um, I know that you don't do favorites, so let's just say,
Well, actually, I just wrote a book called it Fall Favorite Recipes. So
there you
that
go.
was a fair question.
So what, other than your own shows, who is your favorite cooking show or who's one of your favorite celebrity chefs?
Ooh, well, I think I like Ina. I think
Ina,
Ina
Ina Garden.
is just about, um, but I like BB. Remember BB? Biba. I meant Biba. Yes, you know Biba. Anyway, and there's so many.
You know who I love watching is Jacques Pepin.
Oh, Jock. Yes. Well, of course. I mean,
He's
uh,
he's doing videos on Facebook and I
I
think,
know
and it's
they
really,
pop up all the time, and
yeah.
those two little. He just stands in front of his kitchen counter and cooks for 2 minutes and does this little
It's
thing.
really
He's
wonderful.
all set lined up with all of his bottles and stuff. Yes,
There's not a time that I watch him that I don't learn something.
that's something.
It's
That's right.
something. I mean, as long as I've been cooking, as long as I've been in food television, as long as I've, all the things, working for you and Martha, everything, I will learn something every time I watch him. I find it so
Yes,
fascinating.
yes. Well, he just has cooked a lot.
Yeah, yeah. All
Yeah.
right, and the last question is, um, what is one of the food memories that stands out for you? I mean, I won't call it favorite because that's not really I don't mean to do that. So, but like of all the food memories that you have, like what is one of the ones that you,
Well, of course, I remember so well the meal that we had at La Esperance.
yeah,
Jack and I came over to France, and you were living with Anne Willen and working for her, and we went to the 3-star restaurant La Esperance,
yeah,
and that was a fabulous meal. And we went at lunch. I happen to think that lunches are a lot better
yes,
in 3-star restaurants
I would
than
agree. I would
dinners
agree with you on that.
because they're more leisurely. They're
Yeah.
not as anxious
I think
to
we
turn.
we ate lunch for like 4 hours or something.
Yes, they're not as anxious to turn the tables,
Yeah, right.
and but that was a wonderful meal.
That was a wonderful meal, y'all. So there's a restaurant called L'Esperance in Saint-Pierre-Sous-Vézelay. and it's in northern Burgundy. And Natalie and Jack came over, and we toured around Burgundy for a bit, and that was just so wonderful. And we went to eat at this lunch, and it used to be famous. The chef, his name is Mark Minot, I believe. I'm almost certain of that. And he was famous for this foie gras crouton. And
It was the foie gras.
yeah, it was like a breaded, deep fried cube of foie gras. But the deal is that when you fried it, it became molten. It became liquid on the inside, so you couldn't bite it. It had to be the whole thing, right? That was so good.
Right. And what happened was that Jack was the first one to eat it, and he bit it in half because that's the way he was brought up, and it gooshed all over. And the waiter was standing right there with a napkin over his arm, like, here's another dumb American that we told him to eat it all at once. And so they put the napkin in front of Jack and tidied his plate up, and then I did the same damn thing. I mean, I didn't learn a thing.
We've
So
got
finally you did it.
I'll have to post that picture. We've got that great picture of you and I in
Of us outside in our hats.
with our hats. That's so wonderful.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, Natalie, I'm so grateful. First of all, it's just lovely to see you, and I miss you so much. And so it really is wonderful to get to do things like this.
Yes.
And it's so wonderful
to leave Atlanta so far.
I know, but I'll come see you after we had 92 questions, so there's no way I could possibly get to them all. But I know that everyone is really going to enjoy watching this, and I'm so grateful that you are on as a guest. So thank you so much for being on Cookbooks.
Thank you. You know, I would need a whisk on an island.
There you go. There you go. You heard it here, y'all. You heard it here. So please make sure to go to the Instagram feed and like and comment and all that. And I will see y'all next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bon appetit, y'all.